couple remarks about the season practice getting underway, and we'll go to questions.
Yeah, today first practice, always a great day, and right on cue, the weather decided to stay in the 40s today. So, but we're excited. Obviously, a lot of new faces and a lot of guys that will probably be starters or have a chance to certainly establish a role on the team for the first time. And but we're excited to just go with these next 3 weeks getting ready for opening day against Miami of Ohio.
Questions for Coach? Ron?
You, looking at the infield, you lost your first baseman, your second baseman. You used the fall to see, how things might fit there. Is Jaden Jackson a guy that you could move to second? And also, is Tony Romano an option there? Nicholas Romano.
I think there's going to be a lot of competition. I think Compton and Jackson for sure have kind of solidified that, starting the year, they're going to be probably where they were last year. The guy that has really just come on is Christian Campbell. And so we have him right now at second. Romano is definitely a guy that played well in the fall, got into some action last year. First base right now, it's major competition. John Giesler had a really good fall. He's one of those guys that has been in the program a while, but has always had to play behind Andrew Jenkins and some other guys over there at first base, but he's one of our hardest workers, and I think he'll get certainly a chance to play at first. Jackson Finley is over there at first base, some. Angelo Despina is over there a little bit. Probably if we played today, I think he'd probably be our left fielder. And then Karsten Sabathia just continues to get better. So, I'd say right now those are probably the key guys. There's 3 freshman infielders I haven't mentioned that, the idea is to try to push somebody out of a job, but, right now that's kind of where we're at.
What did you learn about your catchers in the fall? And obviously, it's a huge position of importance with Kevin leaving. Just kind of what are you seeing there?
Well, nobody's going to replace Kevin Parada. I think, I'd just start by saying that. But, Jack Rubenstein had a good fall. And, if we started today, he'd be the starting catcher. Probably what you guys may or may not know. We brought in Tyler Minnick early. He was in that recruiting class that we signed in November. So we brought him in here, and we feel like, Tyler Minnick has a chance to be a really good catcher as well. And then some of the other guys that caught in the fall, Nathan Smith, transfer from Tennessee, has had his moments, and Aiden Jolly, a freshman that, is a kind of a recruited walk-on. So feel like we have some depth there, but, I think Ruby has certainly deserves a chance to play right away. And, he's caught well and he's hit well. And then Tyler Minnick he's in a crash course to just try to get up to speed with being a freshman, kind of thrown into the fire here.
You look at the outfield, you had Reed coming back, you had DeLeo coming back, and then I think the last exhibition game you decided to put Despina out there in left field and, see what happens out there, and he seemed to play pretty well in the field. I don't think there was any questions about his bat, though, so is that what you like there right now?
Right now, for sure. And, Despina's a big part of that. So he, he'd been telling me, like, when we got involved trying to recruit him some and in the summertime, he's like, well, I'm not just a first baseman. I feel like I could play in the outfield, just, never got that opportunity at Mercer. And so we just stuck him out there the last week. He seemed to do fine. He's been out there some already in the preseason, and he seems to handle it fine. It just allows us to get another bat in the lineup. But he's played well out there.
Your sophomore pitchers, I think I remember they did pretty well this summer. Kind of what have you seen out of them, and what do you envision for them this season?
think we need, they're all going to have to, be major contributors. And, I think the guy that's kind of gone to the head of that pack is Logan McGuire. Like, I think Logan McGuire has a chance to be an ace. Cam Hill had a really good summer and was one of the best players in the New England Collegiate League. And he threw the ball pretty good in the fall. We didn't push him a lot in the fall because of the number of innings that he pitched. But he, he's one of the guys probably vying for starting pitcher role. And Finetary is probably right now in the bullpen. He has thrown 2 really good outings here in a row just on what we've been able to do in our 4-hour-a-week program. Cody Carwell's been down. He's got a little knee issue. I think he's starting to play catch again, and so he's probably going to be a little bit behind coming out of the gate. But I think all 4 of those guys, we expect them to be major contributors in some form or fashion.
Still get first day jitters on the first day of camp, so to speak?
Not so much practice. If this was game day, absolutely. And, and I probably have jitters, honestly, just before any game. It's just part of it, and part of the unknown. You think you've done all the work and you're prepared, but, the great thing about baseball is that every day is kind of new and different, and you just never know what might happen or what to expect. So, I love what I'm doing. I'm blessed to be at a place like Georgia Tech that, has had a great history of baseball, but also on the school part of it, the academic side, to see what, happens to guys when, when baseball's done. That's the fun part. And in our league, our league is ultra competitive, and, it was deep last year. It's deep again this year. So those are, I don't look at it as a stressful moment, but it definitely makes you stay on your toes to be ready to compete.
You mentioned being deep. How deep is this team?
Yeah, I think it's deep, but, like, I just used Christian Campbell, already mentioned him. Like, he's never played in a college baseball game. He's a sophomore, but, this will be his first go at it. He did play in the summer collegiate league and had a really good summer. And he's played a lot of baseball growing up. So, but there's other guys. Despina has played in the Southern Conference. So, he's played against us. And I know Mercer always plays Florida State. I think they usually play Auburn. But, how's he going to handle 3 straight games against Miami or North Carolina or somebody like that? So I think that's what until you start playing and you see somebody in that other dugout in a different uniform, it's just hard to predict how somebody's going to react.
Coach, how would you kind of compare, at this point last year and this point this year, what this team kind of looks like, how you guys are going to kind of have to get it done this year versus last year?
So 2 totally different teams. Last year, I think we could probably go about 8 deep in our lineup, and all of them have a chance to hit a home run the ball out of the ballpark. So a lot of those guys obviously are gone. You had Zach Maxwell with a big arm. This time last year, we thought he was going to be a starter. It didn't end up being that way until our last game of the year. So I'm hoping, and what we have really put a lot of just time into, is that we need to be a way better pitching team and play way better defense, particularly infield defense, than we did last year.
Is that something that you, I guess, attacked with coaching that maybe you didn't last year? Because like you said, you knew you could put the ball out of the park last year. Do you put a bigger emphasis on those things this year, even though I'm sure you made it a priority last year as well?
We've always put an emphasis on it, but it's just one of those deals this year where we have to be good in those areas. And and you take deep dives into other teams we've had here, or even teams in our conference or teams nationally, on, where did they stack up last year just in our league, and, probably what stood out if you want to be in the top half of the league is that you have to be probably in the top 6 offensively. You probably need to be in the top 6 defensively, and you probably need to be in the top 6 pitching-wise. And if you're there, you probably have a chance to have a really good season. And if you're not there, then, the outlier is, and you'd rather be great in one of those other areas. And but I think the teams that keep advancing, I just use Oklahoma as an example last year. They got hot, but they pitched and they played defense at a pretty high level. And then they had to manufacture runs offensively. Like, they didn't have a bunch of guys could hit home runs, but they could bunt, they could steal bases, they could put pressure on the other team. And that was a winning formula for them. Probably the team in our league that was somewhat like that would have been Notre Dame. Like, somewhere probably in the middle, I'm guessing off the top of my head. It was a long time ago on that whiteboard that we were looking at some of this, but in pitching and defense, near the top. And that was a winning formula for them. Plus, they were really old. Like, I think they had 8 of their 9 starters were seniors or grad students. And that makes a big difference.
You look at your bullpen, it seems like it's deeper and more experienced than you've had in a while. Does that allow you to maybe just throw a guy out there for 1 inning so the opposing batters can't dial in on him and then bring somebody else in, that type of thing?
Possibly. I think, you look at matchups, and probably in the next 3 weeks, the biggest thing we're going to have to decide is probably who's going to pitch the 9th inning. Who do we have confidence in, trying to be a closer. I think we have 8 guys right now that we've kind of extended pitches on to come up with 4 or 5 guys that we think going into the year, these would be our starters. And then probably, so if you pick 5 of them or you pick 4 of them, those other 4 guys are probably going to be high leverage guys out of your bullpen. And, probably the closest thing that could equate to college baseball on the pro side is when teams get into playoffs, and you'll see someone stick their closer in a game in the 6th inning because that's a high leverage situation, and they know that they need to either keep the lead or keep a team close, so they're going to put who they value as their best guy in at that. And I think you see way more of that in college baseball because, you need to try to win every weekend series just to keep advancing and get in the NCAA tournament. So, again, that's just a lot of the stuff that we've tried to dive into on, what's this guy really good at? And, and I would say it right now, like, everybody's familiar with Dalton Smith. He got hurt last year, but he's back. And he has a lot of swing and miss stuff. Like, he's going to make guys swing and miss. But he's never been a guy for us that has gone 6 or 7 innings. And so the question is he best going 3 innings? They only see him 1 time because he's not going to light the radar gun up, but he can make pitches and change speeds to make guys swing and miss and get soft contact. So he's one of them that's in the 8 mix right now, but it may take us a while to decide he's going into rotation or we're going to use him. We have a lead after 5. Okay, Dalton Smith's going in, and you're going to face 8, 9 hitters. They're only going to see you 1 time, and then try to get the ball to somebody in the 9th inning. The other guy that I would say is a lot like that is Dawson Brown. He's kind of a 2-pitch guy. He's a heavy sink fastball, and he has improved his slider. But is he a guy that, you just stick him in there where he can kind of overpower some guys for an inning or 2? Right now, we're extending him to, get his pitch count up a little bit. But stuff like that, we've done a lot of just intel into all the data analytic side, but then trying to put our guys in the best position to be successful.
you brought Matt back, and obviously you have young catchers. Kind of what's his role going to be like on game days, and how important is it to have a guy like that that can impart that experience on guys?
It's great to have him back. He has been a major asset, already. Just his presence of, here's a guy who was an All-American here, played 10 years in the big leagues, was an All-Star. So just that presence alone, like, he has everybody's attention. He's a great guy. Our players love him. We've used him in just kind of all kinds of ways, like, he'll watch bullpens. Right now he's down there throwing BP to hitters. He's obviously major. He and Zeke Pinkham. So Zeke was a catcher at Louisville. So between the two of them, they're working with our catchers on a daily basis. And, he's finishing school, which is, you take, however many years he was out of school, probably 12 to 13, 14 years, and now you come back and you're trying to get your degree. So that's a challenge in itself. He has three young boys, and they're up and running and playing. So I think, he'll be around a lot. Would he be at every game? I don't think so, just based on kid's schedule. But he's a major just asset, and and I'm not giving away any secrets here, but just one of the coaches meetings that we had after fall ball, we were talking about just pitch calling, pitch sequencing, just stuff that people talk about all the time. And I pointed at him, I go, well, that guy right there's called more pitches than any of us, and he's called them at the highest level you can call them. And so just little things like that would have a chance to go unnoticed, I think he can have major just influence. And but it's great to have him. He's like I said, he's a great guy. Wife ran track here, so he's a tech guy.
And speaking of that, one of the things that I think is the biggest transition for pitchers when they get into college is going from overpowering people with your stuff to pitching and understanding why. Is that something where you can maybe help your pitchers understand the why part of it, like why these pitches work, why this works with a hitter? Give it a little bit of that expertise from being a big league guy and a catcher?
I think 100%, and that's kind of his coaching style would be, let's just say a guy gets hit or gives up a home run, and he might even ask him like, oh, what was your thought process going into that pitch, or take me through the at-bat. Okay, first pitch I threw this, and so he's just good at that in kind of a subtle, non-threatening way, but so is Burrell. Burrell's same way, like Wieters and Burrell are kind of, I would just say wrapped the same way in terms of, their personality, mentality, and things like that.
Do a couple more.
About Danny and just the staff in general, what's your confidence that those guys can, and we talked before about how Danny's kind of learning this job, what's your confidence all over that they can be, that staff can be what you need them to be this year?
Extremely high. I think Burrell is an ace, Ramsey's an ace, Pinkham has done a great job. I'm excited that the NCAA passed that kind of volunteer coach thing to where we could have 3 full-time coaches. We did not get an extra coach, which we were all hoping that we would get that, because we have maybe not the lowest, but it's one of the lowest paid coaches to player on your roster ratio in the NCAA. So we were hoping that would go. It did not. But I have extreme confidence in all these guys. And, Matt certainly is just an added, that's the great thing about him as student coach. They don't count. So he can get involved in anything and everything. And, we have all the technology but it's on all of us. It's just not pitching. I mean, we want to be a good team, just pitching, defense, offense, base running, and that's on all of us to make sure that we are. And I'm extremely confident that we will. We're not ranked in many polls, and that's a good thing. And if I was voting in a poll, I probably wouldn't rank us right now either. I think we have to prove ourselves to see where, where we're going to go.
How variable is the batting order piece now? I mean, you have competition at positions, and I imagine that's something that maybe even keeping you up at night thinking about just like the different possibilities of what you can put out there.
I think we probably have a pretty good idea, like our first 6, 7 guys where we could go. You know, there has been a lot of thought put in on like, okay, how are we going to score runs? How, what's our best formula to score a lot of runs? But I'll say it like this, and this is not we've always hit here. And now, is there Kevin Parada in this lineup? No. But I think there'll be enough guys that will be a good team, hopefully, by the end of the year when we look back that, yeah, that team scored runs too. But we are going to count on some guys that, haven't played regular all the time, or it's going to be one of these freshmen that ends up working hard and competing and getting opportunities and taking advantage of their opportunities.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it. Appreciate it. You look roster, and we're going to start with John Giesler, first baseman, and we'll go ahead and open it right up for questions, beginning with Ron.
Hey, John, you've had a couple of years here. You know what Coach is looking for. How's the competition been at first base, and how do you think you did in the fall?
We've had a lot of guys over there. Transfer Angelo Despina, freshman Karsten Sabathia, and we've all been getting reps over there. I did pretty well in the fall, and ended up had Angelo. They had him out in left field. He's still been taking reps at first. But yeah, I had a pretty good fall, so they have me taking reps there right now. We'll just see how it goes the next few weeks.
I guess how excited are you for the opportunity to have a bigger role now?
Oh, I'm pumped. I've been working for the last 3 years, get a chance to really help this team win. And yeah, I'm excited. I'll just take it day by day, but yeah, I'm ready to go.
Still get those first day of jitters on the opening day of camp?
The what?
You still get those jitters on the opening day of camp? Like, what does the first day mean to you?
Oh yeah, I mean, we're all fired up right now. We've been practicing the last couple weeks, but get the uniform on today, pants, everything, whole team together. It means a lot. We're ready. Got about 3 weeks of this, so yeah, we're ready to do everything we can. Get ready for the season.
You obviously lost a lot from the lineup, and I'm curious, as you look at this team, do you kind of see it, we're going to have to make runs in a different kind of way than we did before, or what's your sense of?
Yeah, sure. Prada, Jenkins, Simpson, all being gone. But we still have a lot of new guys on this team that can really hit, and we're hoping that we've been placing a lot of time defense, pitching, bunting, stealing bases, everything. So yeah, we're ready to manufacture runs any way we can.
Is there a place in the order where you feel comfortable? I mean, I know you got to hit in a couple of exhibition games, but what do you see there?
Personally, if I'm hitting back to back with Jack Rubenstein, that'll be great. That's my guy. 5, 6, 7, 8, wherever they need me. I don't care. I just get out there and hit. Let's go.
Reggie?
You mentioned it, Coach has talked about it. I mean, it seems like there's an extra emphasis on making sure you guys are good with the pitching and the fielding and just everything like that. Can you tell a difference in how he's kind of pushed it this year versus years past?
Yeah, definitely. I think we placed a lot more time with defense, base running and bunting. And, we have a whole new pitching staff this year. Jackson Finley is back from injury. We got a couple young studs, too. And, yeah, we're just hoping we'll be more of a balanced team rather than just relying on our offense like we did last year.
Couple more, Ron? A lot of your time has been DHing or coming in to pinch hit, but you did get in some games to play first base. Tell us about your fielding a little bit.
We take a lot of reps over there. I grew up playing, middle infield, third base, whatever. So, there's not as much pressure over there. I take a lot of time practicing the double plays, the footwork over there. So, I feel pretty comfortable over there.
Karsten Sabathia, obviously, because of whose dad is someone who's got a lot of attention. What can you tell us about how he's done so far?
Oh, he's awesome. He's going to be a very, very good player one day. If you watch his BP, I mean, he puts balls over the batter's eye like it's nobody's business. He's still adjusting a little bit, college pitching, but he's, even this season, he's going to help our team out a lot this year.
Anything else for John? All right, thanks, John.
All right,
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Catcher Jack Rubenstein, and we'll go ahead and open it right up for questions for Jack. Rod, start us off.
Jack, can you take us back to what went into your decision to come to Tech, and did you think that you would play as much as you did last year?
Sure. I mean, I knew when COVID hit and I had 2 seasons canceled at Emory, there'd be an opportunity for me to keep playing, hopefully at a higher level. And once Coach Ramsey reached out to me, I knew there was a chance to get in right behind Parada, and I was definitely attracted to Georgia Tech because of the real estate development master's program, and that's ultimately what drove my decision to come here, and it's been a great decision so far.
What's it like to be counted on a little bit more this year? Does it change? Did you, having the adjustment period, help you with that maybe a little bit and have your confidence up for it?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, definitely a big jump in talent level coming here. And so I felt like the fall of 2021 was super important for me, adjusting to the pitching. But I honestly think just being surrounded by so many talented guys, especially hitters, it's pretty contagious, and I felt like it definitely rubbed off on me. And I had a great season, and it's continued so far, and I think, hopefully we continue that momentum into this year.
Ken, I think if memory serves, I think Coach Hall was, like as Kevin was looking like he was going to head out, he was hoping that you would stick around. Was that an option for you to go, and how did that decision, make itself?
Yeah, at the time, obviously Parada was a sophomore, and I wasn't totally sure if I was going to take my final year here. But ultimately, when I sat down with the coaches and, they kind of told me what my situation would be, which started with a great opportunity to go play in the Cape last summer, I decided it was definitely worth sticking around and taking over this season.
What's it like? You have a fellow catcher that's literally should be in high school right now with you. What's that like working with Tyler and
Yeah.
trying to help him kind of develop too?
Sure. Well, I've known Tyler for a few months since before he showed up this spring. He's a really talented player. I mean, I think his future is really bright. I enjoy watching him catch, and I think once he starts adjusting to the pitching a little, his bat's really going to come around too. And so, it's good to work together. I'm definitely happy to take younger guys under my wing and show him the ropes, and I'm sure that he's going to do great things here once he grows up a little bit more.
Watching your approach at the plate, it seems like you're able to go to any field. Does that approach make it more difficult for pitchers to pitch to you, knowing that you can spray the ball anywhere?
Sure, yeah, I think so. I mean, last year I think I definitely was hitting the ball the other way a lot, which worked out, but I think ultimately my goal is to catch balls out in front and drive them to the pull side, but especially nowadays with what you see with the shift, there's always going to be opportunities to get hits to all parts of the field, and so the goal is just to hit the ball away from the fielders.
Do a couple more, David.
Same question I had over all the guys, just, what does that first day of practice mean to you?
Yeah, it's definitely really exciting. I think everyone, no matter how long they've been doing it, still gets the jitters before they go out there. We've been working really hard for a long time, building up to the season, and so I think there's certainly a lot of energy out in the air today.
Ken, what is it like having Matt Wieters around to give you his counsel?
Oh, he's awesome. I would definitely say, going back to your previous question about me deciding to come back, that was only an added benefit knowing that I was going to get to work with him every day. He brings a ton of value to this team, not just with the catchers, but I think to all aspects of the game. And, I hope we can have him here as often as possible.
Is it like, have you got to the point where you're comfortable having conversations with him, or just still kind of so
We're definitely very comfortable at this point. I mean, he's good for the clubhouse. Throughout the fall, he definitely got more integrated into the team, and now everyone gets along and is pretty close with him.
Anything else for Jack? All right, thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Last but not. All right, everybody, we have right-handed pitcher and first baseman Jackson Finley, and we'll open right up for questions for Jackson. Rob?
Jackson, you got some innings in the fall. I guess the biggest question is, how did your arm feel? Do you feel like you're back to where you were before?
Yeah, so I'm approaching on 2 years now since Tommy John, so the few innings that I've had this fall, the arms felt really good. I think probably not 100% yet, but it's getting really close, so by the time the season rolls around, I'll be ready to go.
Kelly?
Just kind of what is the approach that you're one of the veteran guys on a team that has a lot of young talent? Kind of what is your approach in terms of mentorship and trying to help those guys kind of coalesce so you guys have a good season?
Yeah, sometimes I forget that I'm one of the older guys just because I've been out with injury so long, but It's nice to be a fourth-year guy here and taking younger guys under my wing, teaching about just different basics and how to adjust to the college life on and off the field. So it's nice to be able to do that and give back to more than just playing on the team.
Pitching-wise, are there any particular points that Coach Burrell's hitting hard with you guys as far as, I remember last year I heard a lot about getting first strikes and so first pitch strikes. Is there anything that he's really focusing on for you guys?
Yeah, I think for the fall, the majority of the time we were focused on like first pitch strikes, winning 1-1 counts. But the overall goal was to be more consistent with the strike throwing, especially with off-speed pitches, and not worrying about so much as getting strikeouts, just getting the ball in play to where our fielders can make plays and get more outs.
Yeah, same question. Just what is day one for you, especially coming off injury season?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big mix of excitement, jitters, and nervous, I guess. I look forward to being back out on the field again, so it's definitely going to be exciting.
Most pitchers, they go out and pitch however many innings, and they have a routine they go through before their next outing. You're a little different now. You have a chance to DH, maybe play first base if necessary. How has that changed your routine?
Yeah, so I mean, I've always been used to getting ready pretty quick just because I've been a bullpen pitcher in the past. But now that I'm trying to work to be a starter in the rotation as well as DH and hit, I definitely have to take a lot more time just to take care of my body, which deals with more preparation and more post-pitching and hitting exercises, I guess.
What's your comfort level now with your arm, just in terms of I know there's a mental piece of the recovery as well as the physical. Just how comfortable do you feel now throwing?
A lot better since my first outing in the spring last year when I had a few innings coming back. That was kind of just a rush of adrenaline, I guess. And now that I've had a lot more time to not so much playing games but scrimmages and stuff, I'm a lot more comfortable and getting back to my confidence level that I was 2 years ago.
Anything else for Jackson? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.